You are tuned in to the Money Script Podcast. Today we will share strategies to help you grow your financial literacy and improve your money script. I'll be back with some important announcements. Until then, enjoy the show.
Well, welcome to the Money Script Podcast. It's your host, Alicia Harrison. So happy to be with each and every one of you. And we have a very, very special guest today. Very special guest. I've been waiting for this for probably since we started. It's been a little while.
It has been.
But welcome to the 100th episode. This is the 100th episode. It just feels weird saying it. 100th? 100 episodes. So thank you to all the listeners, all of the YouTube subscribers for tuning in for your weekly dose. We do it about weekly, something like that. We try to do it about weekly. But tuning in for your dose of financial literacy. And as you can see, the special guest today, very, very special guest, is Alicia.
Hey, everyone. Happy 2024. Happy 100th episode. We're also kicking off season 4.
4?
Season 4?
Not 5? It's 4? I don't know. Let me see.
It's season 4.
It's season 4? Okay.
Season 4. I remember when we first started the podcast, 2020. This was before the pandemic.
Right before.
It was right before the pandemic.
Yes.
And we were literally in the closet of our upstairs guest room because we wanted to keep the sound good. We would literally be hotboxing there with the heater on or off, no air circulation because you didn't want any background noise.
None.
And that's when it all began.
That is when it began. And here we are.
And then the pandemic hit and everyone was listening to podcasts and we were able to share our message and share the message of our guests. And it's been an incredible couple of years.
It has. And thank you to all of the guest friends of the show. We appreciate you spending some time with us on the Money Script Podcast. Have a lot more guests lined up. It's starting to get fun. Still working on Barack Obama. His team hasn't responded yet. But if you're listening to this is another invitation. You're invited.
Yeah, you have had some epic guests on the show.
I have.
Yeah.
I had you on the show. And now you're back on the show.
And here we are. We're back again. Excited to kick off 2024. Excited to recap and celebrate 2023. We really want to empower you to take the lessons, take everything that brought you joy out of 2023 and really hone in and focus going into 2024 on your financial goals, rewriting your money script, and getting really clear on what you want this year to create for yourself.
So speaking of getting clear on what you want to create. Now, again, you may not be listening to this right at the beginning of 2024. Maybe it's halfway through 2024, 2025, or 2038. Who knows? What we do know is that no matter where you are, no matter when you are, it's always a great time to just check in and make sure you're standing on a solid foundation. And speaking of solid foundation, what we want to talk about as we kick off 2024, or wherever you're kicking off this week, this day, this month, is beginning with your values.
Yeah, it all starts with values.
All starts with values. Now, for those of you that are not currently driving, just make sure you go down to the show notes. You can find the link to our values exercise because we're going to put some of this stuff up on the screen for those of you that are watching as we discuss what our values are. It's been our values for all of 2023, and they're probably going to stay the same for 2024. Yes?
I got some feedback.
She has some feedback. So now, most people, when they develop their values, you are excluding some things that may not quite fit with you as well. And you may be stuck on some items that do. Like, okay, well, this represents me, maybe this doesn't. What I've learned is over the years, it's okay for your values to evolve. They won't necessarily change. They may evolve, just how you interpret and understand different words and how they apply to you and your life and the decisions that you're making. And of course, if you have some life changes, then more than likely your values may change with them. So if you started a family, or if you unfortunately lost someone in your family, changed jobs, graduated from college, started a new job, etc. I said that already. That may affect how you think about your values.
Yeah, and I think it's important for your values to evolve as you learn more about yourself and who you are and what you want. Your values are going to change. They're going to evolve as you become more and more clear about what's important to you. As you mentioned, maybe you get married, you have a partner that you get to really define your family values with. And it just gives you a solid foundation and common language to come back to. So any decisions that come up throughout the year, goal setting, planning, you can always come back to these values to assure that your actions are in alignment with your values. It just makes it really clear for you to set goals and to really have something to fall back on when you're questioning whether or not something is right for you, whether or not it's an opportunity to say no, or whether it's something that you want to say yes to, and it is in alignment with your values.
Indeed. So let's talk about our values.
So 2023, I remember actually going into 2023, we had a hot date at a steakhouse.
We did.
Our team got us a gift card to, what was it? Oceans Prime. And we took our values cards, which, as mentioned, you can find those on our website. And we literally sat down and went through all 50 values and narrowed it down to our top 5. And so going into 2023, our values are family, happiness, education, money, and the last one we actually changed. We switched it up. So originally it was organization, and we switched it up to simplicity. And as we talked about evolving, as we were going through the year, I realized that the simpler things can help you to keep things more organized. So keeping it simple when it comes to your purchases for your home, for your closet, groceries, everything comes back to just less is more and keeping it simple. And that makes it easier to stay organized when you have less to kind of work through.
Agreed. So in that simplicity, if you're a business owner, that can be a very important value to understand, is simplicity, because as business owners, sometimes we can get caught up in all the stuff. And
there's just so much information.
It's so much information,
and do it all.
And every time, shout out to LinkedIn. Every time I'm on LinkedIn, someone is trying to get me to try this or try that or this system or that system, so there's always going to be something. So having that simplicity can help with you saying no to some things and saying yes to the right things, which we're going to talk about a little bit more as we move on. So I challenge all of you, if you're not driving, take a moment, pause, go through the values exercise and determine what your top values are. You can do it right online. It'll take you about 10 minutes. The link is in the show notes. And try to determine what your top 5 values are. So you're going to start at the top. If you see this page here, you'll start here and you'll choose which values that agree with you and which ones that don't necessarily match or agree with you. And then you'll narrow that down to the top 15. And then you'll narrow that down to the top 10. And then you will have your top 5. So like I said, it'll take about 10 to 15 minutes to go through it. If it's something you want to go through with your partner, feel free to do that as well. Or if you want to send it to them individually and have them work through their values and then come together and have a conversation about maybe creating your family values based on what your individual values are. And it's okay if as individuals you have different values because you're different people. Now that you have your values established, for those that took the break, if you didn't take a break and like I said, you're in your car, you're doing a workout. I know I hear from lots of our listeners of when they consume this information. But if you haven't had a chance to do those values, make sure you schedule some time to do that. But we're going to keep on working through having this amazing setup for 2024, or again, whatever week or month or a quarter that you're beginning.
Well, it's setting up it's a money date. This is our first official money date of 2024.
Oh, this is a money date, isn't it?
Money date. So money date, you're going to define your values, right? You're going to reflect on what's working, what's not, and really start to recreate a new money script, rewrite your money script. And so that's what we want to inspire you to do today, is really rewriting your money script for 2024. So now that you've defined those values, or you're in the process of defining those values, we also want to reflect, right? Reflect on 2023. Like, what did you learn from 2023? What worked? What were the successes? What were the wins? Because we want to take that energy and channel it into 2024. Because a lot of times we get boggled down into what didn't get done or what we didn't get to check off the list. But there's also that time to reflect and like highlight what went great. And so we can keep some of that same energy going into the new year. I know for me, as we talked about our values, we talked about simplicity. I learned to really prioritize rest and learning when to say no. This year was a first for both of us. We were both in school this year. So we had our school commitments, our family commitments, our career commitments. Shout out to all the mamas out there who are juggling careers, family, self-care. It is definitely an Olympic sport and we don't get enough credit for it. So within that, just learning that rest is important because there's so many things that we want to accomplish. And when we're just doing, we're missing that time to reset so that we can really show up at our fullest self. So going back to that simplicity. What else is 2023? We traveled a lot in 2023.
We traveled a lot. I got a lot of frequent flyer miles.
We traveled. We went to Cancun to kick off the year.
Went to Cancun. No, we didn't go to Cancun. No, you went to Cancun twice.
I went to Cancun. Well, I went to Cancun and then Tulum. So we went to 2 weddings in Mexico. We took the family to Cabo. We went to Charlotte in June for our team retreat.
Seth graduated last year.
Seth graduated, so we were in New Orleans. We have a HBCU graduate. Amira graduated kindergarten, so we had 2 graduations in May. I went to Columbus for the Lewis Howes Summit of Greatness retreat. You went to Philly, Miami, San Diego. Where else am I missing?
I don't know. You keep up my schedule better than me.
Hey, sometimes. Somebody's got to hold it down.
Huntington Beach. So we said LA already.
LA, and you got to speak.
I went to New Orleans a couple times, and I went to an event in New Orleans. Yes, I got to speak at the Behavioral Financial Advisory Conference in Minneapolis. That's where you left off the list. I went to Minneapolis. Shout out to the Think to Perform team. Thank you for having me. That was a lot of fun. Went to the Altruist Conference. That was in San Diego. Got to speak there. Just really pouring into a lot of other advisors. Because a lot of the speaking engagements that I participate in are for other advisors and helping them, bring the values framework into what they're doing as an advisor to create better relationships. We did do a lot of travel. I would also say that with that travel, with the school, with juggling the children, et cetera, we did have to say no to a lot of things.
Yeah, and it was a process of learning to be okay with saying no, at least for me.
Well, yeah, to say no and not to feel that YOLO, what is it? You only live once or something?
Yeah, or even as a mom, just not hoarding any guilt of what we have to say no to on behalf of Amira because we have family obligations, we have things to take care of at home, and being okay with that, knowing what the end goal is, knowing what we're working for, and still making time for the family. Because that, again, coming back to our values, we value our family and that time. And so also prioritizing the family time at home, whatever that looks like, whether it's having a family movie night, just having that time to connect at home. And that's one thing I learned too in 2023 is how much as much as I love to travel, I also value being at home,
not traveling,
and making my home feel like a home, making our house feel like a home, and just really investing in that time that we have together here, and connecting and learning about our neighborhood and our community here. We have an amazing community that we get to connect with, and so just being really aware of that and present to that. And
I had an epiphany this year.
You did?
Around around FOMO, the fear of missing out. And what I realize is that you're always missing out on something.
On something.
Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to everything else except that one thing. So you're technically missing out on all the things that you're now saying no to because you said yes. So sometimes saying yes to self-care, saying yes to I'm going to work out. I mean, while you're working out, the world is still spinning, things are still happening. I'm sure we've all come back from a workout and someone's called us 8 times or sent us 9 text messages. Like, where were you? It was like, I was working out. Well, you missed whatever. Barack Obama. That'd be a huge FOMO. But that's the thing. You're always going to miss out on something. And that was my epiphany. I realized that, I'm going to miss something. When I say yes to going to go speak somewhere, I'm going to miss out on something, but I'm also going to gain something for what I chose to do. And so I can't let what I miss create that guilt, because then you become paralyzed and you won't know how to make decisions. And that's, again, going back to the values. I had to think about, and when the things I choose to say yes to, I have to think about, okay, what are my values? What is important right now? And what do I get to say yes to? And what do I then ultimately end up saying no to? And then how do I, trade that off in the future? So that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, and I think that goes back to just, we value education, and that's where a lot of the opportunities to say no came up for both of us, because we need to have time to do homework. We need to have time to sit in class. We need to have time to prepare for class, and on top of our family obligations. And so that was a big thing too. It's just being okay with saying no. But as you just said, what are you saying yes to? And another takeaway I had, I think it was from the Lewis Howes conference, is you get to define what a rich life looks like. And I know a lot of the times when we're saying no to certain things, especially socializing, we can feel like we're missing out. We can feel like we don't have a certain something, or certain something is missing. But when you really sit back and reflect on your own life and where you're at, you get to define what a rich life looks like. And for me, a rich life is being a present mom. A rich life is being able to build a business with my husband, and we have an amazing team, and to be able to pour into our clients. Having a rich life is being able to support my mom as a caretaker and supporting her needs, retiring her. Having a rich life is having a rich community, having a community around us that supports us, not only in our business, but as friends, with our family. Just so many things that we get to define what a rich life is, versus allowing society or even our culture to define what a rich life is for us. And so that was something I was really humbled to in 2023, is I'm living a rich life. And I'm going to continue to thrive, to create more richness in my life, whether that's in health, whether that's in time freedom, whether that's in my relationships. But instead of allowing myself to feel like I'm lacking something, it's just really honing into the richness that I'm already created in my life, and the richness that we're continuing to create.
So now we challenge you, once you've established your values, write a statement down defining what a rich life is for you. What is your definition of a rich life? What does it involve? Is it time with family? Is it time with your kids? Is it time just reading or journaling, hiking, gardening, whatever it may be? Determine what a rich life looks like for you. What are those things that need to be in your daily routine, your weekly routine, your monthly routine, so that you are getting that sense of fulfillment? And again, just living within those values that you identified for yourself.
I remember when I was reflecting what is a rich life, one of the things that also came up is automatic savings. So being able to save, being able to put money into my retirement accounts before it actually hits my bank account. And I think a lot of times we take that for granted, because there are people who aren't necessarily in the mindset or don't have the money script just yet to be able to set that money aside before allocating to bills and things like that. And so sometimes we just take things like that for granted. So I really challenge everyone to reflect on 2023 of where your money script was at, and where are some maybe negative thoughts and patterns that may have come up that may not be in line with the values that you just defined. And so how are you going to make 2024 different? How is your 2024 money script going to look, going into this new year, and how can you really sit and visualize that so that you can take action to follow, aligning your actions with those values and reaching those goals.
Absolutely. So now that you have your values, you defined what your rich life is, like Alicia said, start to think about your goals. What are some simple things that you can implement now to improve the outcome that you want to have at the end of 2024? Because again, we're starting here right at the beginning. Let's not call it, what do they call those things? Not New Year's resolution. We're not doing New Year's resolution.
No, because that's what, 2 weeks? And then
at
you're
best.
like, oh, I slipped up. Let me move on. No, we're all year long.
You're aligning your values with your goals and with your behaviors. So what are some simple things that you can do today to help bring more alignment with your goals and behaviors? Maybe it's you need to log into your 401k and change your contribution from 1% to 2%, or maybe from 10% to 11%. Maybe you need to schedule some time with a financial advisor so you can talk about your options. Maybe you don't quite understand how your 401k plan works. Well, hey, I know a financial advisor or two. Start here, go somewhere, get the help that you're looking for. Schedule those money dates. Set time aside with your significant other, or just by yourself, where you can review, okay, what are the things that are going well in my finances? What are the things I need to work on? Maybe you need to consolidate some debt. Maybe you need to log into your student loan website. I know the student loans just started back up in 2023. Have you gone and logged in to see if there are any other options available to you to help you pay your loans off faster, or maybe save some money in interest, et cetera? But think of those simple things that you can do, that you can implement right now to get your values and your goals and your behaviors into more alignment. And again, like we said, make sure you're setting time aside to do this on a frequent basis.
So I just, one of the values that I want to tweak or add is health. And I know we are really good at incorporating a healthy after lifestyle into our lives, even as busy and full as they can be, but just really embodying healthy, active living, and not just for, what is it? Look good naked?
Oh, LG implants. Mm-hmm.
Not just to look good naked, but just for longevity and being able to continue to live a healthy, active lifestyle, not in our 40s, but in our 50s and 60s, and allowing us to have that vitality to thrive as we age like fine wine.
So I think what we need to do here, I wouldn't want to remove any of our values, but I think it's okay to have a sixth value.
Yeah.
So instead of 5, we'll have 6.
We'll have 6. Well, because we've rock solid with the 5.
I mean, I have health on my personal values list, so.
Yeah. Well, and I think when we were narrowing down the values,
mm-hmm.
it was happiness and health were kind of in the same measure as far
mm-hmm.
as what that means to us. We're happy when we're healthy, when we're taking care of ourselves, when we're eating good, we're energized. But I think for me, just having that clear definition of health, and so you and I can hold each other accountable. Amira can hold us accountable. We can have that 6 solid foundation.
Well, I mean, she's good. She does like 100 jump ropes a day.
And she loves to get on the Peloton.
She does love to get on Peloton. And she's been using your account. I keep getting notices that you're on Peloton, and I'm like, no, she's not.
Yeah, she's fit. She's ripped. So yeah, she definitely, and she likes a little competition.
She does.
She also likes to talk a little mess. So
she does.
I think that would be good for us.
I think that would be good. All right. So, and you see how that happened? Just like that, we had a conversation about our values, and we made an executive decision to have 6 instead of 5. That's okay. What you don't want, though, is to have 15 values. Try to come up with the ones that are most important. And if you have 4 instead of 5 or 6 instead of 5, that's okay. But you want to have things that you can believe in.
That you can remember.
That you can remember.
You don't have all these values, and then you're like, wait, let me go check my notes. And it might even be like that even if you have 5.
Mm-hmm.
But having a solid 5 or 6, you can record those in your journal. You can put them on a Post-it. You can put them in your notes in your phone. It's, again, going back to the KISS, keeping it super simple. Is that what it is? SS?
Sure.
Short and sweet. KISS it.
Short and simple.
Short and simple.
Sure.
simplicity.
Yes.
That's what we were getting to. Sure.
So as Alicia said, once you have your values, you want to write them down, put them somewhere where you can see them every day, whether that's on your mirror. So while you're brushing your teeth, you can review your values, or on your computer, or some people like just take a screenshot and put it as their screensaver on their phone or on their computer as well. But make sure there's somewhere where you can review them. Take a couple of moments each day to recite your values to yourself and just challenge yourself. Say, how can I make more decisions that are in alignment with my values today? Especially when you're in the face of conflict. I know as soon as you get finished listening to this podcast, life is going to start happening.
Life be lifing.
And you're going to run into some conflict, whether it's, someone cut you off while you're driving, or you're in traffic, or you planned on working out and you decided and then it decided to rain outside. And it's just, it will create conflict in how you make your decisions. Well, when you are faced with that conflict, just recite your values to yourself. Say your values and say, all right, let me make a decision that's in alignment with my values, or maybe let me make this decision later. Not all decisions have to be made in the moment. Sometimes it's okay to say, no, I want to give that some thought, especially when those decisions involve other people. When you say, you know what, I need to reflect on my values. I need to take some time to think about that, and let me get back to you with an answer.
Yeah, that's been a big one for me, is allowing myself the time to make a decision and not feel pressured to make a decision, because I want to feel good about the decision that I'm making, and I want to feel sure about it, versus feeling that pressure or stressed in the moment of having to make a decision. I think taking a step back and reflecting, and that's just how I process information anyways, is I need time to reflect, and then you can make those decisions for yourself, as well as making sure you're in alignment with those values.
Yeah, because keep in mind, you may not know the consequences of your decision until after you make it, good or bad. So sometimes we have to make those decisions, know that we stood in our values, know that we were in alignment, and just, let the results be what they are, but be able to look back and say, well, you know what? I didn't compromise my values for that decision. So consequences, good, bad, and different. I stood in my values, and I'll continue to stand in my values as I make further decisions.
Absolutely. So I encourage everyone, after you take time to reflect off of last year or last month or whenever you're listening to this, and you start to reflect on those wins, you have your foundation with your values, start to really visualize what is it that you want to create next and get into action for 2024.
All right. Let's have a great 2024, great quarter, great week, great day, just a great next 5 minutes. Again, take the time for yourself. Share this with someone else, especially someone that you love, and say, hey, I want you to listen to this, or I want you to watch this, so that they can also have that values framework, so they can make better decisions for themselves. I was going to say financial decisions, but those are important too, to making better financial decisions. Schedule your money dates, do the little thing that you can do right now that can have a huge impact on your future. And of course, stay tuned for the rest of season 4.
Season 4.
It's season
right
4.
Here.
I don't know. Why am I confused on the seasons? I don't know. Why am I thinking it's 5? It's weird. Season 4 right here, episode 101 and 102 and so forth and so on. Wow. I can't believe it. Before you know it, we're going to be saying 1000th episode.
That's just like us celebrating 17 holiday seasons together or something.
17. We had to count. I had to do the math.
We had to count on the fingers. 17 and
Time
counting.
Flies and counting. So, all right. Well, again, tell a friend to tell a friend. Tune in to the Money Script. Subscribe, like, share. And remember, when you give it a thumbs up, or you heart it, or you like it, or you subscribe, that just helps other people know that this podcast exists. So you don't always have to say, hey, friend, go listen to this. Just by you liking, subscribing, or giving some feedback helps spread the word. So please do. And we will see you next time on the Money Script Podcast.
See ya. Thanks for listening.
I'm back. Wasn't that a great show? I hope you learned something. I know I did. Now, before you go trying anything you heard today, remember, it is not intended to be specific tax or legal advice. If you need that, go see a CPA or an attorney. If you would like any complimentary consultation with a knowledgeable advisor, visit moneyscript.com and schedule a 15-minute consultation. Want Yohance to come speak at your next event? Go to the MoneyScript website for that too. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. MoneyScript Wealth Management is a registered financial advisory service in multiple states. Want to learn more? Get the full disclosure on our website, moneyscript.com.